That's right, it's MOT time for the machine, and that means tackling possibly one of the most common problems that you have if you own a Discovery 2. And that is replacing rusty sills. Right then, I've owned this car for about 3 years now, and for every MOT that it's been through, I've just been patching up little bits of the sills, which has worked for me for 3 years, but now we're starting to get bigger bits of stuff going wrong, so I figure I'm better off just replacing the old bloody lot. And since it's the machine's MOT due tomorrow, I'd best get a bloody move on.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now we've got the doors off, we can actually see how bad the sills are, and to be honest, I've seen worse. We could quite easily just patch onto my patch and keep going until we've got some new sills, but in the spirit of doing things properly, let's just replace the whole thing. So the plan for cutting these out is to make quite a nice rectangular shape up in the sill member here. So if we chop the top off to give us a top to weld to, we can then chop round along all the way down under here, all the way to the back, down there, and it should make quite a nice rectangular shape for us to just slide the new sill member in afterwards. And yes, this is the part in the build when we have slow-mo sparks flying shots. But before we do that, we've got to do the boring stuff like removing all these sills, taking all the screws out of these plastic bits, and then pinning the carpets back so that we don't burn them or set them on fire or anything worse. Let's just crack on. With this side fully cut out and ready for cleaning, it was time to turn it around and tackle the other side. Well, with those cut out, what I'm going to do now is start working on the new sill, getting it ready to go in. So for the new sill, I've ordered a 50 by 100mm piece of box section, which should, in theory, just slide up inside here. We weld it on, job's a good one. New sill completed. We're going to go a little bit further today because I want to protect the bottom of the doors from rocks and trees or whatever we drive over. So I'm going to build a little rock slidery sort of frame underneath. Right then, that fits pretty well for me. Done a good job of that. Obviously, before I weld it in, I need to go and clean up all the edges, all around here, around here, around here, around here. But there is another thing we need to consider, and it's these plastic clips all the way along here, which hold down the plastic cover above the carpet when everything is rebuilt. And the problem is that they protrude underneath, which means the sill can't sit fully up to this piece of metal here. So what we're going to have to do is drill holes in the top of the sills that correspond to where these all sit. And I've got a special trick that might just make this job really easy. Take some grease, don't matter what grease. Open it up, oh, brand new on this one. Take some on your finger and just dab it on the bottom side of all these little clips. Right, and then once you've done that, I'm going to put this sill back up into place exactly where it needs to be. It literally just needs a... And what it'll do is mark all the places on top of the piece of metal that you need to drill holes for them. So all we need to do, drill the holes where the grease is, and then it should sit properly. And that should just fit perfectly in there, which it does. Awesome. Now, you might be wondering why, when I've got a two-post ramp behind me, that I'm struggling on my knees.
Why, when you've got a two-post ramp behind you, are you struggling on your knees?
Well, I'm glad you asked, and there's two reasons, actually. And the first reason is that if it was on a two-post ramp, I'd be struggling to get to sort of this area here because there'd be a big post in the way. And cutting all this out and cleaning it up, it'd all be really, really difficult because basically I couldn't get into it with a grinder. The second reason is, and you'll see this in a minute, when I come to weld this on, up in here, it's quite hard to hold it in and weld it at the same time. And to remedy that, when it's not on a two-post ramp, you just put a jack underneath the sill and then weld it in. If it's on a two-post ramp, you can't do that. So, when it comes to welding the front and the sides, that is easier off a ramp. When it comes to welding the back, we'll just put it on the ramp, whiz down it, and then it'll be job done. Simple as that. Right, come on Laurence, get something done. All right. After definitely not needing to grind some dodgy welding down, I put the doors back on so that I could line up the rock sliders, but I found a small problem. This line here represents where the bottom of the door sits, and as you can see, it's not straight, so it doesn't run on the same line as the sill. I'm not sure whether that's my fault or whether it used to do that or whatever, whether the door's broken or whatever, that's how it is. So here it's about 40mm, and then by the time it gets down to the other side, that's more like 25mm. So this piece of box section here is actually going to be sat a bit like this, exaggerated, but it's going to be sat like that. At this end particularly, we're going to be trying to get it as high as we can because it's 30mm box and there's only 25mm gap between the bottom of the sill and the bottom of the door. So it is going to be hanging down slightly here. That's not too much of an issue because I don't think you'll notice when you stood next to it. But we're going to be trying to push this side of the rock slider up as much as we can and if we do it too much, then the door won't close. And that would not be ideal. So the next job for us to do is to find our centre of our rock slider here somewhere, weld our piece of box section in to space it out from the sill. We'll pop it on, pop the doors back on, and then we can work out the actual level, weld it on, and then we can do the ends. And then that's pretty much these sides done before we put it on the ramp. Obviously, we need to do the other side, but we'll whiz through that because we've already done it once.
Tracky B's and dirty tees, ketchup and bacon plates line this dirty floor, shaky hands and yellow teeth, small price for a score. Comes so easy when you got some, feels so breezy when I'm on one. They say I'm sleazy but they got none. It comes so easy when you got some. This is the madhouse. This is the madhouse. Ones with a discount vodka and chicken beans, dirty underwear all over the floor, black fingernails and greasy hair, small price for a score. So easy when you got some, feels so breezy when I'm on one. They say I'm sleazy but they got none. It comes so easy when you got some, like me.
And that's one side finished. Well, I say it's finished, but there is still one tiny and very annoying job to do. These strips where the seals sit on, obviously when we chopped the bottom of the sill off, it took the seal ridge with it. So what we do need to do is just put a new ridge along here, just for the seal to sit on. I mean, it's pretty strong, that, for what it is. Just a couple of pieces of bloody 30mm box, it's all right. And you know, I'll be using it mainly to stand on, to do stuff on the roof rack, or to put the tent on or whatever. And I mean, it's pretty strong to me. But for now, I'm pretty happy with this side. I'm going to flip it round, do the other side exactly the same. I've not actually put the doors back on yet, so let's leave that until the end of the project and see if they actually do fit. Never know, we might be MOTing it without any doors. As with all things in life, I nearly got to the end of this job and discovered that I needed just a couple more inches of box section, that is. So, with one job stopped, I decided to get on with the seal strips for the top of the sill. And for that, I found a piece of 2mm sheet steel that looked like I'd just dragged it out of the bloody sea, and set to cutting out the seal strips. And because it looked like I'd just dragged it out of the sea, I gave it a quick clean up before I welded it on. I struggled with this weld a bit. It was a weird angle and I'm by no means a professional welder. So, if you do have any tips of how I could be better at welding, I'm always up for learning. I did manage to run a nice bead along the back though, and that'll stop water from going down the back and just sitting there. Now that was done, there was just 3 more to go. Oh. And once both sides of the seal strips were done, it was time to put it on the ramp for some upside down welding. Right, I've finished all the welding underneath, so now it's time to tackle the back sides of the sills. Just to cover this hole up so that we don't fill it with mud and silt and salt and everything, and they don't rot off immediately after we finish the job. And the arches where it's rusted away here as well. This side's not so bad, but the other side is a lot worse. So we've got a little bit of work to do there. I've also been in touch with my mate to get some more metal for these 30x30 tie-ins here. I only need 100mm, so I'm just going to go and steal some off him. Once we've done that, we can get it all painted up, get the door seals back on, get the doors back on, and then it's ready for its MOT. Being honest, for this bit, I didn't really have a plan, other than to keep cutting away until I got to some kind of solid metal, and a shape that I could work with. And after a visit from Mrs. Machine telling me I spend more time with my car than her, it started to take shape. I was pretty happy with how these turned out really, having not really had a plan to start off with. All that was left then was just a bit of paint to hide the dodgy welding, and then home time for the day. If you're doing this for yourself, you might want to mask up the seats and the carpets before you start painting. Personally, I'm not too bothered about the interior because it gets bashed and dirty and horrible, and I'm going to take it out soon anyway, put some better stuff in. Right, it's all dry now and the MOT is in exactly 1 hour from now. So we need to pop the wheels on, drop it down off the ramp, and then we can do door seals, interior trim, and then the doors, and then we can go.
You'll be pleased to know that the machine passed its MOT with flying colours. The MOT guy did have a slight problem with us filming whilst it was going through its MOT, hence the reason why we're finishing this video at Laurence the Machine HQ. But that does give me a chance for a shameless plug of our own line of products here at Laurence the Machine. We're starting to build a range of products at the minute for the overlandy expedition type person. The main one at the minute being our wonderful roof tents, a link to which will be in the description of this video. If you feel like you need an upgrade to your roof tent, or if you just feel like you want to get into overlanding, then you can either email me, comment on this video, or get in touch on one of our social media channels. As ever, thanks very much for watching this video. I've just had a very good idea about what we can do to the machine next, but that'll have to wait until the next video. So make sure you subscribed, do a like on the likey section, and do a speak in the speaky section. We'll see you next time.